Now I will tell you about the most brilliant mind in ancient China, who rejected absolute power for a slow-moving animal and a one-way ticket to nowhere. Picture this: the imperial palace of the Zhou dynasty, jade corridors, silk banners, ministers whispering conspiracies in shadows, generals plotting wars, philosophers competing for the emperor's favor. And in the center of it all, surrounded by thousands of bamboo scrolls containing every secret in Chinese history, sits one man, Li Er, the keeper of the imperial archives. He knows more than the emperor himself. He has access to every military strategy ever devised, every diplomatic treaty ever signed, every economic policy that built empires and others that destroyed them. He could be the most powerful man in China. Instead, one morning, he saddles up a water buffalo, slow, humble, ridiculous, and rides toward the mountains, forever. Why would the smartest man in the empire choose a buffalo over a throne? That's the question that's haunted philosophers for 2,600 years. The man who read everything. Lear wasn't born into power. He came from a small village in Shu, a region known for shamans, mystics, and people who talk to trees. But the boy was frighteningly intelligent. By age 12, he could recite texts that scholars at 40 still struggled with. By 15, he understood the patterns of dynastic rise and fall better than the court historians. By 20, he was recruited to the most prestigious intellectual position in China, keeper of the imperial archives. He was given the keys to everything: birth records of kings, military strategies from forgotten wars, philosophical texts from ancient sages, economic policies, diplomatic failures, technological innovations. Imagine having access to Wikipedia, the CIA archives, the Library of Congress, and every classified document in human history, all in one room. Most people would use this knowledge to climb, to manipulate, to gain favor with the powerful. Lear did the opposite. He started to see something nobody else could see: a pattern behind the pattern. The pattern nobody wanted to see. The Zhou dynasty was built on a beautiful idea: the mandate of heaven. The concept was simple and brilliant. Rulers governed with divine approval. As long as they were virtuous, heaven supported them. When they became corrupt, heaven withdrew its mandate, and revolution was justified. It was the perfect propaganda tool. Every new dynasty claimed it. Every rebellion used it as justification. But Li Er was reading the actual records, and the records told a very different story. Every dynasty, without exception, followed the same cycle: rise, consolidation, expansion, corruption, collapse. It didn't matter how virtuous the founder was. It didn't matter how strict the laws were. It didn't matter how many rituals were performed or how many temples were built. The cycle was inevitable, and Lear discovered the trigger: control. The more a ruler tried to control society, the faster it fractured. The more laws they passed, the more criminals appeared. The tighter they gripped power, the quicker it slipped through their fingers. Power itself was the poison. The philosopher competition, Li Er, wasn't the only one watching the empire crumble. Other brilliant minds were observing the same collapse, and they had solutions. Confucius said, "Return to ancient rituals. Restore strict hierarchy. Everyone must know their place. More structure will save us." The legalist said, "Create harsher laws. Punish severely. Rule through fear. Absolute control is the answer." The Mohist said, "Practice universal love. Defend but don't attack. Care for all people equally." It was a marketplace of ideas. Philosophers traveled from state to state, offering their services to rulers, building schools, recruiting disciples, competing for influence and money. And Li Er sat in his archive and watched them all fail, because he saw what they couldn't see. They were all prescribing more of the disease. Every solution required more control, more intervention, more human manipulation of natural processes. They were like doctors arguing about which poison tastes best. The paradox of the buffalo. So why a water buffalo? Why not a horse? Fast, noble, the vehicle of warriors and kings. Why not a chariot, the symbol of power and status? Why a slow, stubborn, humble buffalo? Because the buffalo is the perfect symbol of what Lear discovered: The buffalo doesn't force, it moves with its nature. It doesn't try to be a horse. It doesn't apologize for being slow. It doesn't compete with chariots. It simply is. And yet, buffalo pull plows that feed entire civilizations. They move mountains of earth over time. They outlast horses. They survive where more impressive animals fail. Strength through yielding, power through not forcing. This became the core of Li'er's philosophy, later recorded in the Tao Te Ching. The day he left, imagine the scene. The imperial court is in chaos. The Zhou dynasty is fracturing. States are preparing for war. Philosophers are shouting louder, competing harder, promising bigger solutions. And one morning, Li, the man with access to all knowledge, all secrets, all power, packs nothing. No gold, no servants, no manuscripts, just himself and a buffalo. He points it west, toward the border, toward wilderness, toward nothing. No announcement, no farewell speech, no final lecture to the court. In a culture obsessed with ceremony and protocol, his silent exit was revolutionary. He was saying without words, I don't need your system. I don't need your recognition. I don't need your empire. The guard at the gate. At Hangu Pass, the western border of civilization, a guard named Yin Shi stopped him. Yin Shi wasn't your typical border guard. He was educated, a stargazer, a meditator, stationed at this remote post specifically because he wanted distance from palace politics. When he saw the old man on the buffalo, something in his gut said, this is not ordinary. You're leaving, Yin Shi said. Li nodded. You've seen something, Yin Shi pressed. You've spent your life at the center of power. You have access to all knowledge, and now you're walking away. Why? Silence. Before you go, Yin Shi's voice carried urgency now. Write it down. Whatever you've learned, whatever you know that we're missing, don't take it with you. Leave it here. This is the moment that changed philosophy forever. Li'er could have refused, could have said, words kill truth. If you want wisdom, walk the path yourself. But he didn't. He dismounted. He sat down. And over 3 days, he wrote 5,000 characters, 81 short chapters. No systematic philosophy, no step-by-step guide, just observations, paradoxes, poems, contradictions, the Tao Te Ching, the classic of the way and its power. Then he climbed back on his buffalo and disappeared. Nobody knows what happened to him. Some say he died in the mountains. Some say he traveled to India and taught the Buddha. Some say he lived another 100 years as a wandering hermit. And some say he never existed at all. Why the buffalo was smarter than the empire. Here's what Li'er understood that nobody else did. Empires are built on the illusion of permanence. Every emperor believes their dynasty will last forever. Every system claims to have found the perfect order. Every philosophy promises the answer, but the buffalo knows better. The buffalo doesn't pretend to be eternal. It moves with the seasons. It rests when tired. It eats when hungry. It doesn't fight the current. It is the current. This is Wu Wei, the core teaching of the Tao Te Ching. Not doing nothing, but not forcing. Water doesn't force its way through rock. It flows around, over time, carving canyons. Trees don't force their growth. They align with sunlight and seasons. Nature doesn't hustle. It unfolds. And Li'er was saying, humans should do the same. The empire demands you control everything, force outcomes, manipulate systems, compete, dominate, win. The buffalo says, flow, what the smartest man knew. Li'er had read every strategy for gaining power, every tactic for maintaining control, every method for building empires, and he rejected them all. Why? Because he saw the cost. The cost of power is your life. To maintain an empire, you must constantly monitor threats, punish dissent, manage perception, manipulate people, never relax, never trust, never be authentic. You become a slave to the thing you control. The emperor sits on a golden throne but can't sleep at night. The general wins every battle but loses his soul. The philosopher gains thousands of students but forgets the truth. Li'er chose freedom over power. The buffalo doesn't rule anyone. It doesn't need validation. It doesn't compete in status games. It's free. The modern empire versus the modern buffalo. You're not living in ancient China, but the choice is the same. Modern empires. The corner office and 80-hour weeks, the Instagram following, and constant content creation. The startup that demands your entire life. The wealth that requires endless anxiety to maintain. The status that needs constant defense. Modern buffalo. Work that aligns with your nature. Relationships based on presence, not performance. Success measured by peace, not perception. Power that comes from letting go, not holding tight. Life lived at your own pace. Which are you choosing? The final wisdom. Li Er, who became known as Lao Tzu, Old Master, could have been remembered as the most powerful advisor in Chinese history. Instead, he's remembered as the man who chose a buffalo. And 2,600 years later, we're still talking about him. Every emperor from that era, forgotten. Every general, dust. Every dynasty, collapsed. But the buffalo-riding philosopher, eternal. Because he understood the deepest paradox of all. True power doesn't need to be held. It needs to be released. The strongest position is the one you can walk away from. The wisest choice is the one that looks foolish to everyone else. The smartest man in the empire chose a buffalo because he was smart enough to know empires don't matter. What matters is the path, the flow, the Tao, and you can't find that in a palace. You find it on the back of a buffalo, moving slowly toward mountains nobody else wants to climb. So here's my question for you. What empire are you clinging to that's keeping you from your buffalo? What power, status, or control are you holding on to that's actually enslaving you? What would you need to let go of to be truly free? The smartest man in ancient China already answered. He chose the buffalo. What will you choose?